weekend like a location scout for the wedding.
You mean use Jesse's place?
Yeah, if it's cute.
Come to me.
Hello, welcome to Brojo617 Presents What Did I Just Watch? I am Brojo617, and today we're going to be talking about 3 movies that I watched recently. First one is Sleepy Hollow. The second is a movie called Making Monsters that a lot of people might not have heard of. And the third one is a movie called Nosferatu, which was just out in theaters recently.
I am Constable Ichabod Crane, sent from New York to investigate murder in Sleepy Hollow.
First movie we're going to talk about is a movie called Sleepy Hollow. So this is a movie that came out in 1999 and was directed by Tim Burton. The movie is about an hour and 45 minutes long, so it's right in that wheelhouse where I like my movies, probably between 90 minutes and about an hour and 50 minutes. The movie stars Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, Christina Ricci as Katrina Van Tassel, and Christopher Walken as the Hessian Horseman, also known as the Headless Horseman, as most people are probably familiar with that story. It's a dark and moody movie. It kind of thrives on the darkness and the gloominess of the town of Sleepy Hollow. The story itself is about a detective that gets sent to a small town in upstate New York, which happens to be called Sleepy Hollow, and he has to investigate 3 murders that have happened in the town so far. And all 3 of those have happened via decapitation. When he gets to the town, he discovers that there is actually a plot going on that involves witchcraft and the history of the town. I really enjoyed this movie. I had never seen it before. Like I said, it came out in 1999. Went back and watched this on the recommendation of a buddy from work. I had also started the movie, watched about 10 minutes of it, and thought this looks like something I would really enjoy, so I watched it at a later time, and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 WTFs out of 5. Really, really good movie. Production value was very high. It's moody. There's a lot of humor in it. Johnny Depp kind of brings that with him. You know, wherever he is, he has this ability to play serious without being overly serious, being able to make fun of himself in a role, but also still be the coolest person in the room. So, like I said, 3.5 WTFs out of 5. Really enjoyed it, and I would advise anyone who hasn't seen this to go out and check it out. Next movie we're going to talk about is a 2019 horror movie called Making Monsters. This is a movie that's 82 minutes long. It's directed by Rob Brunner and Justin Harding. Stars Alana Elmer as Allison and Tim Loden as Chris. So the basis of the movie is that Chris is a social media prankster, and he's made it big pranking his fiancée, Allison. While they're out shopping, Allison and Chris bump into an old, I think it's a college buddy of Chris's, and they're having a quick conversation, and that friend says that him and his partner have actually purchased a place out in the countryside, and the place is almost like a big old cottage / almost looks like a church, and he invites Chris and Allison to come out and check the place out and, spend some time with him and his partner. Chris and Allison agree. There's a side conversation that they have where Allison says, look, why don't we go out? We'll check the place out. Since it's out in the countryside, maybe it's someplace that we would actually like to throw our wedding. And she tells Chris that she's only going to go on the condition that he doesn't prank her over the weekend. Once they arrive to the house or the cottage in the countryside, they find out that Chris's friend that they had run into is actually away on business. So they're there with his partner. While they're waiting for the friend, they have some drinks, they play games. The partner tells him it's going to be a day or 2 before he can come in. There was a problem with flights, yada, yada, yada. And they have a good time. After the first night, chaos kind of ensues. I don't want to give too much away. I really enjoyed this movie. I gave it 3.5 WTFs out of 5. I went into this knowing it was a small, independent type movie, lower budget movie. You really never know what you're going to get when you check out some of these movies. The runtime of 82 minutes was a perfect length to check it out, not knowing what I was getting into. And there was a ton of twists and turns. Things started happening. You know that Chris is a prankster, so you don't know if it's something he's doing. You don't know if it's Allison pranking him. You're really, you're sitting there questioning it the whole time you're watching it. Really held my interest. Really thought it was pretty good. Obviously, there's, some limits that come with a budget like that, which is why it's 3.5. Bigger budget, probably would have been a 4, maybe 4.5. It was that good. So definitely an enjoyable movie. If you like that type of movie, definitely go and check it out. I think it's worth your time.
What happened to you? Professor. My dreams got darker.
Next movie we're going to talk about is the 2024 horror movie Nosferatu. I watched the extended cut. That's 136 minutes long. I think that's only an additional 3 minutes to what was released in theaters. It was directed by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch and The Lighthouse and a movie called The Northman. The movie stars Lily Rose Depp as Ellen Hutter, Nicholas Hoult as Thomas Hutter, husband and wife, and Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok, or typically what we would know as Dracula. The great Willem Dafoe also shows up in this movie as Professor Albin Ebhart von Franz. And to be honest, Willem Dafoe kind of steals the show whenever he's on the screen. Definitely chews up the scenery and just kind of owns whatever scene it is that he's in. And he was really entertaining in the movie. Bill Skarsgård as Dracula, or Count Orlok, as the story tells it. Awesome. What a villain this guy makes. You couldn't even tell it was Skarsgård. He's been in a bunch of different movies. Couldn't even tell it was him. Completely different. Changes the voice, which could be, noise technicians, sound technicians, people adjusting the sound on their microphones, whatever. Couldn't even tell it was him. Couldn't even, staring at him, you couldn't even tell it was him. He did an excellent job at this. The premise of the movie is basically the Dracula story. So it's Thomas Hutter goes to Count Orlok's castle, and he's looking to move. So Thomas has him sign a deed to a new place, which happens to be in the same town where him and his wife, Ellen, live, played by Lily Rose Depp. As Count Orlok moves into the same city, a plague follows him there. People, there's all kinds of people getting sick, people dying. Like I said, the story kind of follows along the Dracula story. If you saw the 1992 Dracula movie that had Keanu Reeves in it, it kind of tracks along that story. The settings were incredible. The costuming, incredible. Really dark, really moody. No humor. In the previous movie, Sleepy Hollow, I talked about how there was some humor. No humor in this at all. Just dark and gloomy, and very much a horror movie at its core. This is another movie on this video. I gave it another 3.5. I know all three of these movies I gave 3.5. They were all a little short on being a 4, 4.5. This one in particular, the real reason behind it is twofold. First thing, it's very long. I know I watched the extended cut. Again, I think it's only 3 minutes longer than what was in the theater. Still a very long movie. Held my interest, but at the same time, I could feel myself thinking, oh, this is kind of a long movie. There's also, I wish that there was more Orlok in it, so there wasn't really a whole lot of the vampire comes out at night and does things, Personally, I would have rather have seen that more. The movie itself is very story-based, so, it all kind of leads up to that, but I would have liked to have seen maybe a little more action. I did talk to several people who loved this movie, probably would have rated it higher than I did, but for me, it just kind of fell a little flat in certain spots. One being so long, second being not enough Count Orlok in it. Again, like I said, another 3.5 out of 5 WTFs for me. Again, kind of long, and could have used more of the count in the movie itself. Story was great. The set pieces and costumes were great. Robert Eggers really knows what he's doing. Really good movie. Definitely would advise people to watch this if you haven't seen it.
Nosferatu.
That concludes this episode of Brojo617 Presents What Did I Just Watch? 3 really enjoyable movies, 3 ratings of 3.5 WTFs. 3 movies definitely worth checking out if you have the time. If you have seen these movies, please check in on the comments. Let me know what you think. If you haven't seen them, definitely go out and check them out and then come back and let me know what you thought. If you have any suggestions, movies to watch, I know a couple of people have put a few things out there, so I'll work on those. If there are any movies that you haven't seen that you would like me to check out and talk about before you go see them, let me know. If you enjoy watching the reviews, please give a like and a subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Next video should be coming out shortly. I'm going to talk about the movie Longlegs, the movie Heretic, and the movie Strange Darling. So stay tuned, check out the channel. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.